So what happens when we have a negative exponent in scientific notation? So if it was positive, right, we move the decimal place to the right. Well, when it's negative, we're going to move the decimal place to the left. So use the same steps as before, but just go to the left this time. So let's write 3 in decimal form. So 3.0. Actually, I'll move it over. I'll write it over here, 3.0. And then we're moving the decimal place 4 places to the left this time, not to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal goes here. And in those little saddles or whatever you want to call them, throw some zeros. So I will have as my answer 0.0003. I can ignore that 0. I don't need to write that. I can if I want, but it's not necessary. And it's usually good practice to have a leading 0 to the left of the decimal if you don't have a whole number there already. So when we have negative exponents in the 10 for scientific notation, you move the decimal place to the left. All right, now some practice. Again, going from scientific notation to standard form, but now we have negative exponents. So take your A value or your number to the left there. Write it as a decimal, so 4.0, and then move your decimal to the left. And how many places to the left are we going to move it in this one? We're going to move it 2 to the left because that's what's in the exponent. So 1, 2, throw your decimal there. Put a 0 in those humps or saddles or whatever you want to call them, and might as well throw a 0 in front of that decimal. It's good practice. So standard form for this scientific notation expression is going to be 0.04. All right, 1 times 10 to the negative 7th. Let's write 1 as a decimal, so 1.0. And then move that decimal place to the left 7 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 1 times 10 to the negative 7th. So let's write 1 in decimal form, so 1.0. And we're going to move that decimal to the left 7 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Decimal goes here. And we will put zeros everywhere else, including in front of that decimal, and get 1.0000001. This 0 over here, it doesn't hurt to write it, but you do not need it. So this or that are perfectly fine answers. Okay, 2.8 times 10 to the negative 3rd. So 2.8 is already in decimal form, so I'll just write that. And then we're moving the decimal to the left 3 places. So 1, 2, 3. Decimal goes here. And I'll put some zeros here and here. And final answer, so standard form of 2.8 times 10 to the negative 3rd is going to be 0.0028. Okay, let's go green. All right, 1.03 times 10 to the negative 1st. 1.03 already in decimal form, and we're going to move that decimal place 1 to the left. So it's going to be here. And all we need to do really is just put a 0 in front of that decimal or to the left of it. Final answer will be 0.103. Last one, negative 10.37 times 10 to the negative 3rd. This is already in decimal form, so that's good. So negative 10. And you know, we can ignore the negative for a second. We know our answer is still going to be a negative number. So I'm just going to take 10.37 to ignore that negative sign for a moment. And we're going to move that decimal place 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. I'll throw another 0 here and here. And don't forget that negative sign. That negative sign doesn't magically go away. It's still there, it's still part of the number, so our final answer is going to be negative 0.01037. And why does that trick work, you might ask? Well, if you remember what we do or how to treat negative exponents, and if you don't, I got a video on that, so go back and watch that. We can actually write this as 3 times 1 over 10 to the positive fourth. And then 10 to the fourth is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. I think I said that right. So we'll have 3 times 1 over 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is 3 times 1 over, that's going to be 10,000. If we multiply these two numbers, I will get 3 over 10,000, or a very, very small number, which checks out with what we got here, 0.0003. So 3 over 10,000 is the same as 0.0003. If you are shaky with your decimals and place values and stuff like that, definitely suggest you go watch some videos and rehash that. But an explanation as to why that trick that we did earlier works.